What up, brothers? What's up? It's the director. Chargers fans, we got a fun one today revolving around Justin Herbert, new acquisition to the Chargers. Very exciting first round pick, quarterback, future of the franchise, Justin Herbert. I kind of want to go over what his stat projection might be if he starts this season. Now, a lot of you are going to say, not Tyrod Taylor. Well, what if there's a scenario where he wins out in training camp? You know, maybe there's pressure from the front office to get him out there. Who knows, guys? Who knows? Nobody knows. But in this scenario, this is just kind of the theory that we're talking about. What would he look like stat-wise in the 2020 season if he does get the start from week 1? Before we get into this video, guys, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy these Chargers videos. The small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, bell notification help out a lot. Let's get into this video. Okay, so I painted a scenario for you. Justin Herbert, let's say, in this scenario, Justin Herbert wins out in training camp. The coaches are wowed. The fans are wowed. The training staff is wowed. Justin Herbert has won the starting job going into the 2020 season. What might this look like? Well, I did a little bit of digging on Justin Herbert. I watched a lot of tape on Justin Herbert, even before we drafted him. I knew there was a pretty decent chance he'd be coming to LA, and I wanted to kind of get to know this quarterback, on that level. And I think, there's a good ceiling with Justin Herbert. A lot of people, throw out the book of Justin Herbert because they wanted, another player. But the reality is we have Justin Herbert. We need to support him. And there is a lot of upside with him. So I'm going to give you guys kind of like a dream scenario ceiling, as well as my prediction ceiling for Justin Herbert as we go along. So to kind of get to know Justin Herbert, let's take a look at some of his stats. Starting out in Oregon. Now, the stats in college ball do not translate over to the NFL quite accurately. It's very rare that they do, okay, guys? So just keep that in mind. But what I'm trying to point you guys in the right direction of is growth. Now, at the same time, stats do not paint a full picture of a player at all, but they do exist, and we do need to acknowledge them, okay? So, 2016, 2017, he played 8 games each, QBR of 148 and 167, QBR being their quarterback rating, the proficiency of your quarterback, and that was pretty good, man. 19 touchdowns, 15 touchdowns to 4 and 5 interceptions, great. Justin Herbert, I'm starting to understand more and more why the Chargers took him. They really want to take care of the football, man. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. A big reason why they wanted Tyrod Taylor as well, because he's more of a game manager, doesn't throw a lot of picks. And that's just a huge upside that you get with Justin Herbert as well. He's not going to throw a lot of picks, and he does have the upside of throwing for a lot of yards and touchdowns. In his junior and senior seasons, 3,151 yards, 29 touchdowns, 8 picks. And then it got even better with 3,471 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 6 picks. Like this number right here, yards to touchdowns to interceptions, is actually really, really nice coming into the NFL. QBR of 156.8. That's pretty impressive, okay? But at the same time, there still are concerns with Justin Herbert. The reason a lot of us had, maybe a little bit of skepticism regarding Herbert was, there's some things that we're a little bit worried about. His instincts, his leadership, maybe a little bit reading a defense, his accuracy. These are things that I hope he improves on in the NFL when he's surrounded with, pro caliber coaches, very, very talented players on his roster as well. So these are all things that exist for him, but at the same time, I think they're very coachable, and I think the upside even then still exists in his rookie season. And also an important thing to note was his surrounding cast in Oregon. A lot of people have that argument that, maybe Justin Herbert would have been the #1 overall pick if he had a supporting cast similar to, let's say, a Tua Tagovailoa out in Alabama. He had all the receivers in the world, protection, run, he had everything out there. And Justin Herbert, I'm not going to say his team was bad, by any stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely not on that elite caliber level that we saw other quarterbacks operating with, like, Joe Burrow at LSU, Tua Tagovailoa at Alabama. It's definitely kind of shows, who he is as a quarterback, being able to work with these pieces and still be successful for so long in his career in Oregon. All right, so all those things kind of keep in mind, kind of put a tack in everything as we go along through these different arguments. Like, okay, so we looked at his, QBR, we looked at his, supporting cast, kind of keep that in your brain as we go through each segment here, okay? So going into the NFL professionally, okay, he reminds me of a couple of different guys. Baker Mayfield is the obvious comparison here too because of his situation. We got Tyrod Taylor out there at starter. He needs to earn the job. And then eventually Baker Mayfield did just that. And he went on to have a pretty spectacular rookie season. 3,725 yards, 14 touchdowns, and or 27 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. That's pretty good. And you know what? I'm going to say it was so good that it's not very common. You don't see, rookie seasons like that very often. But who's to say that Justin Herbert wouldn't have that kind of success too? Who's to say that the surrounding cast that the Chargers have built around their quarterback isn't enough to elevate a guy like Justin Herbert, even in his rookie season, to something pretty spectacular when it comes to a rookie season at a professional level? Okay? Now, there is one team that kind of reminds me of the journey of Justin Herbert a little bit. And this is, again, it's a gut feeling kind of thing. I'm not a pro analyst. I'm not, professional NFL analyst or anything like that. I'm just kind of a gut feeling kind of guy talking with my friends about Chargers football. And when I think about the 2020 Chargers, I can't help but compare them with the 2016 Dallas Cowboys a little bit. All right, and some of you guys are probably like, oh, this guy's crazy. But no, at the same time, you got just really look at it. Just so humor me here. We got Tony Romo, kind of like your Phillip Rivers, kind of getting older, getting pushed out a little bit, which is sad, but at the same time, it's just kind of, it's football. And Dak Prescott taking that mantle. Dak Prescott's rookie season was pretty good, guys, and I think it had a lot to do with his surrounding cast, which is something I say a lot. Surrounding cast is important. He had great running backs out there. Ezekiel Elliott, Alfred Morris still had a lot in the tank, and then Rod Smith had a pretty good year that year too. Wide receivers, very reliable wide receivers. Cole Beasley, very reliable slot receiver. Dez Bryant, still deadly on the outside. Terrence Williams, kind of an up-and-comer that season with Dak Prescott on the outside. Very, very solid wide receiver core. Jason Witten, still a super reliable tight end. You can compare him maybe to a Hunter Henry, not as a player, but just what he brings to the offense. They probably had a better offensive line, I'll give them that. And their defense wasn't terrible, but I will say our defense is probably a lot better than theirs in 2016. Now, the reason I bring this up is because Dak Prescott had a spectacular rookie season out with the Dallas Cowboys. You take a look at his rookie season here, 3,667 yards, 23 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I think there's a world where Justin Herbert could get close to those numbers. Maybe not, maybe even surpass them, guys. You really have to compare. I take a look at the 2016 Cowboys and I say, yeah, I can see the similarities in there. But I also take a look at the 2020 Chargers individually and I say, I think Justin Herbert might have a better circumstance, like a better surrounding cast than even Dak Prescott did back in 2016. Isn't that crazy? I think he has a better defense. I think he has better weapons. I think everything other than his offensive line may be better than the 2016 Dallas Cowboys. So I think there's a realistic, decent ceiling for Justin Herbert, and we're going to go over that right now. So I really liked what I did with Tyrod Taylor in my last video. I kind of photoshopped kind of like a visualization for you guys of what he's got to work with. Now we're going to do the same thing for Justin Herbert here, okay? Offensive line, just like I said with Tyrod Taylor, it looks pretty decent. Like when you're talking offensive line for the Chargers, the last decade, 2 decades, however long, this in comparison is pretty nice. Chargers fans, get excited. Brian Bulaga, Mike Pouncey, Trey Turner, Forrest Lamp could come into his zone, and then maybe like a Sam Tevy, Trey Pipkins. We got to figure out that tackle position. But it's pretty nice. Justin Herbert out there should feel somewhat secure, other maybe than that, right side if we decide to put Brian Bulaga on the left, okay? So the offensive line isn't bad. The leg up that Justin Herbert has in LA that maybe Dak didn't have is this plethora of incredible weapons that Justin Herbert will be touting in LA. Mike Williams, or I should say Keenan Allen on the left, and Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, who is a hugely versatile player, and then Hunter Henry, and then I put in Joe Reed to represent the rest of the receivers. You get Joe Reed, KJ Hill, Patton, or whatever like that. Those are the other wide receivers. So what I did with Tyrod Taylor is I showed you the stats that all of these guys put up under Phillip Rivers last year. This is the 2019 stats of these players with Phillip Rivers. Now, Phillip Rivers, very different player than Justin Herbert, very different player than Tyrod Taylor. So these numbers will probably change, okay? So when kind of like, again, with my gut instinct behind, Justin Herbert leading this offense, here was my dream scenario status. So let's take away the Phillip Rivers status from last year and put in the dream scenario. I see a lot of Chargers fans saying, hey, this is completely possible. These are the kind of numbers I'm looking at. Based on that, this is what I came up with here in the dream scenario, okay? Keenan Allen for, almost 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns. Mike Williams, I want to see him shine next year. Almost 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns. Almost 1,000 yards for Austin Eckler, 8 touchdowns. 700 yards, 9 touchdowns for Hunter Henry, and then 426 and a tutty for the rest of the wide receivers. That's pretty good, right? That's pretty nice. Let's take a look at the dream scenario quarterback rating here. This is what it would look like. 4,241 yards, 32 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and I still think he rushes for 385 and 5 touchdowns. That's pretty great, isn't it? I think a lot of us would be ecstatic to see Justin Herbert on the team if he puts up these kinds of numbers. But realistically, I think that's probably a little too, you're talking Andrew Luck kind of rookie year with these kinds of numbers, okay? I don't know if Justin Herbert, even with the surrounding cast, will put something up like that, but I wanted to put this out here because a lot of people do believe that this is possible, all right? And maybe it is. I'm not going to say it's not. This is definitely possible. But if you guys are looking at my rankings personally, let's go ahead and take these stats off right here. It's a dream scenario. Realistically, I think under Justin Herbert, it would still be a pretty nice offense, okay? If everything clicked for Justin Herbert, he was comfortable out there in the pocket, operating from the pocket, utilizing his incredible weapons out in LA. This is what I'm thinking would happen, all right? Justin Herbert, in my opinion, his rookie season would need to rely on three very important pieces of this offense. Keenan Allen, ultimate route runner in the NFL, is going to get open and give Justin Herbert opportunities to start moving the ball downfield, converting those first downs, and stuff like that. That is what Keenan Allen is, okay? Mike Williams, kind of your deep threat. Justin Herbert likes that. He's a deep threat. He's a deep passing kind of quarterback. I think he would love Mike Williams. You got your Austin Eckler, okay? So I'm going to say the three players are Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler. There's going to be a lot of rolling out. There's going to be a lot of hitting your safety valve, in the flat, in the ins and in the outs. And I think Austin Eckler is going to be a huge part to why Justin Herbert may be successful his rookie season. And then finally, Hunter Henry. What better safety blanket on the field could you have than Hunter Henry? In my opinion, a top, 5 tight end in the entire league when healthy. I think that Justin Herbert and Hunter Henry will get along just fine. And because of these three weapons right here, Mike Williams is going to be great too. He's going to give him options to stretch the field. But I think these three weapons, most importantly, are going to contribute to Justin Herbert's success. Getting open and converting downs. Safety valve, in the flat, safety valve, down the middle. He's got some of the best weapons in the NFL to convert in almost any situation. And for that, I think, again, if we're looking at realistic stats, I still think that, the reception hog, Keenan Allen goes for a ton of receptions, over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. Mike Williams, over 800 yards, 5 touchdowns. Austin Eckler, 950 yards almost, 8 touchdowns. I still think that Hunter Henry puts up a lot of yards, but a lot more scores. He's going to lead the Chargers in scoring with 9 touchdowns. And my realistic take on Justin Herbert is going to be 3,924 yards, so just under 4K, 29 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He's not known for throwing a lot of picks, so that number could be down a little bit. But I also think this new environment of the NFL is going to pressure him a little bit. He might throw more picks than he's used to, but that's still a pretty good ratio, 29 to 10. That's not bad at all. I do think that he's also going to be rushing for quite a bit. You notice Justin Herbert on tape, he takes those opportunities, in the red zone. If he's in the red zone and he sees a lane, he's going to take it. And I think that's something that Coach Lynn liked quite a bit about him as well when drafting him. So that's my take on Justin Herbert, guys. What do you think of these projections? I know it's different. I know it's really hard for me as a YouTuber to come out here and tell you what Justin Herbert's going to do because honestly, even the pro analysts have no idea. So me being a fan, just saying, hey guys, this is what I think's going to happen. Let's start a conversation and a dialogue in the comments below. What do you guys think? It's difficult for me to put something out like that, but it's also just meant to be fun. This is a fun video. This is kind of what I think his ceiling can be in like a realistic versus a dream scenario kind of situation for Justin Herbert. And I'm excited, man. I believe in Justin Herbert. Now, does he get the start? Likely not, but again, this is just kind of help start a conversation in the comment section below. Well, guys, again, tell me what you think, guys. This is it. This is the stats I came out with. This is what I think his ceiling could be with the Chargers. It could definitely be lower. One more thing, I don't want to make this video too long, but I also want you guys to understand where he would exist in this, okay? So let's say that the dream scenario, 4,241 yards, that would put him right here under Matt Ryan, okay? That seems a little too unrealistic that, we go with the number 6 quarterback of the season in Justin Herbert. Seems a little unrealistic. With the 3,924 yards, he would be sitting somewhere around right here, number 13 or 12. I can definitely see that happening, somewhere around the Deshaun Watson, a lot of people do see him maybe down here like with the Sam Darnold kind of numbers too, which is very realistic too, but I'm talking ceiling. I'm thinking ceiling somewhere around here is where I feel comfortable. But all right, guys, we got to close out this video. It's getting a little too long. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been the Director. Bolt up, all Chargers fans. Good luck to Justin Herbert and Tyrod Taylor out there. And our quarterbacks we trust, and our management and Tom Telesco we trust. It's going to be a good 2020 season. We'll see you guys next time, and as always, dudes, stay frosty.